Are you ready to talk about some football? This is the latest episode of the Cross the Middle Show. I'm your host, as always, John Kuzma. We're going to talk about the Stefon Diggs story today. We're also going to talk about new Eagles defender Nolan Smith. So let's start breaking down the latest news. We got the Stefon Diggs story first. I don't know if you guys have heard or not, but Stefon Diggs is holding out. He's not showing up to practice. Sean McDermott is concerned that Stefon Diggs isn't there with Josh Allen working on their rhythm and timing. Let's also not forget the last time we saw Stefon Diggs and Josh Allen together. It was during that loss to the Bills on the sidelines where Stefon Diggs is visibly frustrated. He's basically screaming at Josh Allen, saying, "Why aren't you throwing me the ball? Why aren't you targeting me in the passing game?" The truth is, it's not all on Josh Allen, though. The Bengals came into the Bills' home stadium, then roughed them up. They were the more physical team in that game, so it's not all on Josh Allen. It doesn't matter, though. Stefon Diggs was frustrated. He thinks that he should have been targeted 10 or 15 times in that game. He feels like the lack of targets hurt the Bills' chances of beating the Bengals in that game. To lose like that in your home stadium where you just get beat down by the Bengals, it didn't sit well with anybody. It especially didn't sit well with Stefon Diggs. However, we have to remember this isn't the first time Stefon Diggs did this. He played for 5 years with the Vikings. He established himself as one of the best vertical threats in the league. He's one of the best deep ball receivers there is. So after that, he forced his way out of Minnesota. He didn't want to be a Viking anymore. Well, you can do that when you're established as one of the best deep ball receivers in the league because some other team wants you on their team because they basically think, hey, we can use him because he can go deep and take the top off the defense. That skill set is valuable to us. Well, if Stefon Diggs was a second or a third-year receiver, the NFL and the other teams might have looked at him like he's problematic. But since he was established as one of the best vertical threats, what happened? The Bills end up trading for him. He goes to Buffalo. That's why he joined Josh Allen and the Bills. Then Josh Allen took the next step. As soon as Josh Allen got Stefon Diggs, Josh Allen stepped up and became one of the top quarterbacks in the league. Why did that happen? It happened because Stefon Diggs is so good at taking the top off the defense. When you have a receiver that can get behind the safeties, it's a nice, easy throw for the quarterback, especially when you have a big arm quarterback like Josh Allen who can just heave it out in front of Stefon Diggs, then let Stefon Diggs go get the football. Now, I'm a little bit worried about the Bills because if they do lose Stefon Diggs, that hurts their chances of winning a Super Bowl. This team has been in the hunt for the past handful of years. If you lose Stefon Diggs, suddenly you're going in the opposite direction. You're getting further away from winning a Super Bowl. Then what's the chain reaction of losing Stefon Diggs? Josh Allen takes a little bit of a step backwards because he doesn't have the best deep ball receiver in the league to throw to anymore, or at least one of the best deep ball receivers in the league. Then you put more pressure on Gabriel Davis. Gabriel Davis has to step up and be the new number one receiver. 2 years ago, I thought Gabriel Davis could do it because he was so good in the playoffs. I thought he was going to take a huge step forward. But what happened this past year? Gabriel Davis started to struggle with drops. He didn't build on that strong performance in the playoffs 2 years ago. He actually kind of was just mediocre after that. I don't want to say he was mediocre. He was still good, but he wasn't that dominant player that we saw in the playoffs 2 years ago. He struggled with drops. So if you lose Stefon Diggs, what's going to happen? They're going to start rolling the coverage towards Gabriel Davis. Now Gabriel Davis has to start taking on more double coverage. It's going to be even tougher to secure those catches for Gabriel Davis because he's going to have two defenders on him. You could see how this could really hurt the Bills' offense. So that's where we're at with Stefon Diggs. The two sides seem to have some tension between them. We don't know whether or not they're going to be able to smooth things over. I think Stefon Diggs wants to be a Dallas Cowboy, if we're being honest. His brother Trayvon Diggs is on the Cowboys. I thought Stefon Diggs was trying to force his way out of Buffalo a year ago and get to Dallas. Remember, the Dallas Cowboys are the most popular team in pro sports. Their franchise is worth more than any other franchise in pro sports. It's because everybody watches the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys are not America's team. They're the world's team. The whole world follows the Dallas Cowboys. The most watched games on TV are always Dallas Cowboys games just because they have the biggest following in pro sports. There's nothing like being a Dallas Cowboy. It's the biggest stage in pro sports. Really, I think Stefon Diggs wants to be a Cowboy because he wants to play with his brother Trayvon Diggs. But there's other perks, being on the biggest stage in sports, the highest valued sports franchise in the world. It's just different down there when you're a Dallas Cowboy. The following, the fans, the support, it's on a whole different level when you're a Cowboy. The other story we have today is the Nolan Smith story. So, I don't know if you guys saw the video of Nolan Smith. The video was Nolan Smith hitting a bag in practice, but I was absolutely blown away by Nolan Smith's explosiveness, his acceleration, his tenacity. This guy is going to be more than just a combine superstar. Now, that's the thing that always concerns me with these combine superstars. You see these combine superstars that light it up in the 40-yard dash. They have a great vertical jump. They're great in drill work. And then sometimes you see these players that when they have to transition to having the pads on, they're not the same player. I was a head coach in the semi-pro, at the semi-pro level. I was a head coach at the high school level, a varsity head coach. I've seen so many players that are great until the pads come on. Basically, I consider them flag football players. These players would be great in flag football, but the minute they have to deal with the physicality, the minute they have to take a hit, the minute they have to deliver a hit, the minute they have to deal with the pressure of putting the pads on and realizing that football is a physical game, they start to cave to that pressure because they're flag football players and not tackle football players. I'm always worried about combine superstars when you see a combine superstar, whether or not they're a flag football player and a combine superstar, or whether or not they can transition to being a great player in the NFL when the pads come on. So Nolan Smith was the latest combine superstar, lit it up, fast 40-yard dash, was just explosive, great acceleration, great burst, had all those things. So I'm wondering, is he a combine superstar or is he going to actually be a good player in the NFL? Well, I see this video of him hitting the bag in practice for the Eagles. Immediately, I knew for a fact that he's the real deal. He's going to be able to deliver the goods for the Eagles, which is huge for them. You can see why the Eagles decided to draft him because he's more than just a combine superstar. Yeah, he has the speed and all those different skill sets, but he's physical too, man. Like, I know he just had the helmet on and he hit that bag, but the way he hit that bag, it almost reminded me when Reggie Bush caught that it was like a swing pass out of the backfield. He caught the pass. I don't know if it was Sheldon Brown or it was one of the Eagles defenders that came up and lit Reggie Bush up. He got right under Reggie Bush's chin, lit Reggie Bush up to the point where Reggie Bush is crawling on all fours on the ground trying to gather himself, but he couldn't even get up. I mean, he's crawling on all fours, just completely messed up because I think it was Sheldon Brown absolutely lit him up, or it was some other Eagles defender. I'm not sure who it was, but Reggie Bush just got obliterated. That's how big of a hit that Nolan Smith hit would have been if he actually delivered that hit to a real player instead of a bag. It was a big-time hit to the point where everybody at practice knew it right away. Like, wow, this guy has some pop. When he arrives with some pop, and he can deliver a blow. I mean, if he hits a running back, a wide receiver like that, it's going to deal some damage, some serious damage. That player is probably going to be down for the count for a while. So I really do think Nolan Smith coming off the edge for the Eagles is going to be huge for them. I think he's going to come off that edge, not only come off that edge with some tenacity to the point where the pocket's collapsing, he's breathing down quarterbacks' necks. It's not going to be fun to play against this Eagles defense. I'm sitting here wondering, are the Eagles going to be the same team they were a year ago when they went to the Super Bowl because they lose all these key pieces? Well, they reload in the draft with some serious young talent on the defensive side of the ball to the point where it's like, wow. I mean, I don't know if they had a guy like Nolan Smith last year. That guy, wow, man. The speed, the tenacity, the pop, those things are going to be huge for the Eagles. Howie Roseman is a genius for drafting that guy. I mean, he's going to be physical, man. He's not a combine superstar. He's already proven to me that he's going to be a real deal football player. Get ready for the Eagles because somehow Howie Roseman pulled another rabbit out of the hat. They're going to be back in the hunt again. That's what happens when you have one of the best GMs in the league. Nolan Smith does look like he is going to be able to step up and be somebody for that Eagles defense. That's going to end up being a great draft pick for them more than a combine superstar. I'm John Kuzma. That's all I got for this latest episode of the Cross the Middle Show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm signing off.